Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your 20th edition of TWitWoW Five Fave Fives. I can't believe that we've done this 20 times now. It's unbelievable to me. It feels like we've done it maybe 10 times. It feels like we just haven't done it very many times at all. But this is the 20th. This is number 20. It's crazy. It is September of 2022. And on this show, if you haven't been here before, if you don't know what we're all about, we will be listing our top 5 favorite performers as well as honorable mentions for each of the WWE universe, which includes Raw, Smackdown, NXT, and what was NXT UK. Now I guess it would be NXT Level Up. AEW's universe, which also includes Ring of Honor, of course. New Japan, Stardom, and then just the rest of the wrestling world, which of course this time is going to be quite nice because it's going to be able to include TJPW because we watched TJPW stuff this time period, because we watched the Tokyo Princess Cup and stuff like that. It's going to be able to include Pro Wrestling Noah because we watched bits and pieces of the entire N1. And it's even, if you wanted, of course, going to be able to include Ice Ribbon, because we did have an Ice Ribbon request during this grading period as well. So, John, how stoked are you about this 5 Fave 5, my friend?
Well, literally, when I was tweeting out the link, I said this is my favorite commentary we do consistently, which is why I'm not going to lie. When you reminded me that it was today, last night, I did panic a little bit, because normally I'm far more prepared, but I was able to get my list done fairly quickly, if I'm honest. Just because, like, for me, because it's my favorite commentary, I'm always thinking about who's where in my mental rankings. So I always have, like, not to sound weird, but I always kind of have, like, a mental outline of how things are going to go. And I'm so glad you said what you said about Ice Ribbon, because just as a little tease, in my other list, I do give Ice Ribbon some love.
Nice.
Because I figured it fell within the grading period. And I'm like, I knew it. So even when I feel like I'm a bit off my game when it comes to 5 Fave Fives, I come through in the clutch. I'm really excited to share my list with you guys. I would say my weakest list, it's a coin toss to me between WWE, which I like more and more as I look at it, or New Japan. But in the case of the one, we've been so checked out, and in the case of the other, the G1 really didn't set the world on fire. At least my world wasn't set on fire this year. But yeah, I still think they're solid picks. Most excited, as always, to talk about my Stardom list. And I'm ready to get into this when you are, man.
Amazing. Awesome. Let's get into this. Let's start with our WWE lists. Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I will inaugurate this process, friend. I will go first. As you guys know, I just want to explain how I approach my list. Obviously, we begin with honorable mentions. Except for other, because I was only able to think of 3 people for other, and I didn't want to force it. Rather be honest than try and make something work that's arbitrary. But usually when I can, for honorable mentions, I like to keep it to 5, as if it was like, okay, if my whole main roster of 5 was out, this would be the substitutes. So I'm going to work backwards from 5, the weakest, to 1 in the honorable mentions, which could have been on the Fave 5, just a little bit more would have come together. So, number 5 for me, Alpha Academy.
Whoa, okay. All right. Alpha Academy not even making your list. That surprises me. I thought you loved them.
I do, but like I've checked in a little bit on them during this grading period. They've been doing decent stuff. Really, I liked what they did most recently with Kurt Angle. I thought that was good
really
stuff.
Cool. I enjoyed that for sure.
4 Edge, 3 Gunther, 2 Roman Reigns, and 1 Damage Control. I'm still waiting for them to kind of really hit their stride and get going. So I know Damage Control is the controversial one.
Well, I will just straight up spoil it. Damage Control is on my list.
Okay, I figured they'd be on one of our lists. That doesn't surprise me.
All right.
So
I guess it's my turn to do honorable mentions, right?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Well, I will say straight up, number 5 for me on my honorable mentions list is Wendy Chu still. I know she hasn't been doing as much, but I do know that she did beat Tiffany Stratton on an episode of NXT recently, and I was very happy about that. Frankly, it shouldn't have taken her this fucking long to do. Number 4 is Carmella, I'm sorry, I spoiled a little bit there. Number 4 is Edge. Number 3 is Carmelo Hayes, which is, I kind of jumped the gun there. Number 2 is the Judgment Day. And number 1 on my honorable mentions list is the Bloodline, as in the whole Bloodline, as in Roman, the Usos, and Sammy, because fuck Solo Sikoa's generic ass.
Yeah. Him screwing Drew out of the title's the peak of his career, unironically.
Frankly, you could even include Paul Heyman in this because he was hilarious at SummerSlam.
Dude, Heyman's so good. It's really a testament to the Bloodline that, like, Heyman doesn't make or break the operation. I still find it entertaining, but he's just that secret sauce, you know? It's so good. All right, number 5 for me, Bianca Belair. Still loving her as champion. Still loving how she carries herself. I thought she had a fucking amazing performance at Clash at the Castle. And yeah, I'm really glad how well she's been treated, really across the board, because even before Vince left, I mean, you know, she got to main event a Mania, or at least a night of WrestleMania, while Vince was in charge. She got to, you know, go on the big feud with Becky while Vince was in charge. So really, Bianca's had a great era for herself the last little bit, and I'm just happy to see it continue. So Bianca Belair, number 5. Who is number 5 for you, friend?
Well, this is interesting because I'm willing to bet that we have a lot in common on our list. I'll just put it that way. My number 5 is Seth Rollins.
Okay. So what's he doing for you?
Well, mostly, I will say, it has been his promo work, because I have not seen him wrestle very much over this grading period, at least as far as I can remember. He has been working almost exclusively with Riddle during this grading period, which means that I haven't been watching very many of his matches. But his promo work has been on fire, and he literally called out Riddle for his backstage, behind-the-scenes bullshit with his family, or former family, I guess I should say, and got away with it. And for that, I fucking love him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Stokely Hathaway is always my model for how to be a hater and thriving off negativity. But Seth Rollins, it's not negativity, it's pure chaos, and I'm here for it.
He's wonderful.
Number 4.
It's really, honestly, I feel like this is my most, like, based off of feel edition of Five Fave Fives, because I literally had to just be like, okay, who do I look most forward to seeing when I have this on my television? And it just kind of played out that Rollins was the fifth in order of who I'm most forward to seeing on my TV when I have Raw and or Smackdown on my TV, because I literally just don't watch NXT anymore unless it's clips that show up on Reddit, which is how Wendy Chu and Carmelo Hayes ended up on my list, on my honorable mention list.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get that approach to constructing your list. Rollins is fucking awesome. Meanwhile, number 4 for me, Liv Morgan.
Okay, that to me, I really love Liv as a performer individual, but the reason that I didn't put her on my list is because of some of the way that she's been handled and the way that she's been booked and the way that she's been portrayed, and I do feel like her promos have gotten weaker and weaker over time.
I will agree the promo game is her weakest facet of her as a performer. She would have been higher if the booking had been stronger for me. She might have even been like a number 2 spot, maybe even number 1, because I watched, when it first happened, I watched her title win at Money in the Bank multiple times. I'm pretty sure like double digits at least. I was so happy for her. I kept up with her clips on YouTube, you know, what she was doing, how strong did she look. I thought her match against Shayna at Clash at the Castle was solid, because, you know, I did go back and I watched that in full. I like that there was actual, you know, wrestling in there and grappling on both women's parts. Liv showing that she could hold her own with somebody like Baszler. Didn't care for the booking at SummerSlam, or, you know, and like you said, the promos have been a bit weak. So that's why she only...
SummerSlam, the SummerSlam match between her and Ronda fucking sucked. And given that we know now that Liv can work a really solid technical match with someone that's more of that style, I blame it entirely on Ronda.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I just look at the other 3 people that beat her out on this list, and I just felt like, for me, their work was more resonant with me, more consistently across the grading period, whereas with Liv, she had really high peaks, but also really steep dips. So I think 4 is a comfortable place for her. Who's next on your list, friend?
Oddly enough, number 4 on my list is Drew McIntyre because at the end of the day, as weird and awkward and as bad as it made him look to sing with Tyson Fury at the end of Clash of the Castle, everything that he had been doing up to that point, I fucking loved. I have not been rooting. I had not rooted, I guess you could say, for someone to beat Roman as badly as I was rooting for Drew to beat Roman going into Clash of the Castle. Drew's work on television has been great. Even his work behind the scenes, promoting the show and everything, I just think that he's been everything that you could possibly want a face of your company to be. And the fact that they didn't reward him by making him the face of the company is just embarrassing to me.
Well said. Well said. Number 3 for me, Seth Rollins. I think you gave a perfect articulation on your list with Seth of why he's so great. I love that he just pretty much humiliated Matt Riddle the whole feud because it's been pissing me off. I said this at Clash of the Castle preview and predictions. It's been pissing me off that Seth goes in these programs and he gets nothing but a goose egg for it. Like lost 3 times to Cody. I think before that he did beat Edge in one match, but still, like Edge always won like the big matches in my mind. And it's like he's doing such great work. I wish that we had, the world title separated. And I know we're going to be getting a hard brand split soon. I can sense it coming. But whatever brand Seth Rollins is on, he needs to get a fucking run with the world title of that brand. This dude has not fucking missed for the longest time now. And it's been incredible. The promos, I love that the curb stomp, it's been back for the longest time now, but I love that it's still like a threat, still takes people out. I love how the dude works in matches. I love that even when he puts people over, he still looks like a fucking $1,000,000. Even after the 3 losses, Cody, I don't necessarily think his value has dipped because I think you could put him in the main event tomorrow, have him win the title, and nobody would bat an eye. At least I wouldn't. So, yeah, Seth is fantastic. Wanted to give him this number 3 spot. Who is next on your list?
Next on my list at number 3 is Bianca Belair.
Excellent. Talk about
actually,
it.
By the way, I wanted to leave you alone to talk so that you could kind of have your moment and talk about Seth, but I'm really surprised you didn't have him higher on your list. I think I know who your number 1 is. Like, I'm pretty confident that I do. I don't know who your 2 is, but I'm surprised Seth wasn't your number 2, honestly. Actually, fuck, now I think I realized who your number 2 is, and I'm not surprised anymore. Okay, anyway, Bianca Belair is my number 3. Honestly, bro, it's kind of weird because, like, I have Bianca ranked higher than you do, but, like, I don't feel like I'm a bigger fan of hers than you are. I think what it really comes down to is I care about WWE less than you do, and so the people that I have ranked higher than you in the WWE list, it's more just because I don't care about the people that are ranked lower. Like, I'm guessing I care about Seth Rollins less than you care about Bianca Belair. And he's number 5 on my list and she's number 5 on your list. So, like, our lists are not equal in that way because, like, while I have WWE pulled up on my list every week, or pulled up on my TV, rather, every week, I pay so little attention to it. And I don't go back and seek out YouTube videos. I just don't care. I just don't watch WWE all that much at all. I have it on my TV, and the stuff that snags my attention is the stuff that snags my attention. And it just so happens that Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, and my top 3 are the things that get my attention the most. And the top 3 are all related and interlinked with each other, and they're all interacting consistently on my television. Bianca is number 3 because she is the least interesting of the 3 things that I have listed in the top 3. But I still really enjoy her work. I absolutely love her work. I loved her even just in the 3-on-3 match at Clash of the Castle. I thought she was great in that. I want to see her get more good singles defenses. I want her to defend against Asuka. I want her to defend against Bayley. I want her to defend against Rhea. I want more Bianca Belair singles defenses. And I feel like we haven't gotten one since SummerSlam, where it was against Becky. But I feel like we haven't gotten any really good ones, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm still waiting for that next big Bianca Belair feud in defense, which for all we know, it could be Bayley.
It
given
feels
what
like
happened
it
at
is against Bayley, considering Bayley just pinned her at Clash of the Castle.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool, and I'm really excited for that to get underway, but we haven't gotten there yet. So right now, Bianca is number 3. And I'm curious who your number 2 is now.
Fight Owens, fight Kevin
That's
Owens.
exactly what I thought, and I know who your number 1 is too now.
I've loved this reboot and him going back to his roots as the prize fighter. I get tweener vibes from it. He started out taking out Ezekiel, which I don't even know if the crowd was receiving Ezekiel well. I don't really think it was getting much of a reaction, especially relative to Elias. But then, so you could maybe argue heelish, whatever. Then he steps up to Drew McIntyre, cool. But then he also takes out Alpha Academy. Granted, that show was in Canada. I like the idea of the prize fighter as a tweener. Now, if WWE is this, and especially because I do think I'm starting to buy the rumors that him and Sammy might team up and take on the Usos down the road, especially now that Solo is in. I could see them doing something even next Friday where it's like, oh, we've got Solo now, we don't need you, Sammy, and they just gang up on him and beat him down. Like, one of these things is not like the other kind of thing. He goes to Kevin, and they do that. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not thrilled with that, just because I think both Sammy and Kevin should be in major singles feuds, and again, I wish we had the world title separated and whatever, but just to focus on Kevin for now, I love the idea of the prize fighter as a tweener because to me, that's the essence of a gimmick. It doesn't matter if you're a babyface or a heel. If you have a title that I want, if you have a prize that I want, you're getting your fucking ass beat. And I have been loving the energy of Kevin Owens lately. I mean, I still will always prefer him as that just keep fighting babyface. I think there was lightning in a bottle there that WWE still to this day did not know how to harness properly. But this is the next best thing to me. If you're going to have him have a stick up his ass and be like in a bad mood, this is a legitimate reason to be in a bad mood because he has said in promos, like, I have not held a championship. I think he said in like 5 years. And yeah, that's a genuine, for a character, chip on your shoulder.
Right.
I came in, I was winning all sorts of championships. I was the NXT champion. Then I won, the Intercontinental title, then the US title, Universal title, but before any of that, and then you go on this dry spell. It would get to anybody. So I'm really loving Kevin Owens' motivations as a character. I don't know if they look at him as a heel, a face. I'm, again, looking at him as a tweener right now, just given who he's going after. And I think that's the best fit for him because I think anybody who holds a championship should feel threatened. This is the most legitimate Kevin Owens has felt to me in a long time, and his promo work has not dulled a bit. I could still listen to this dude on the mic all fucking day. Love Kevin Owens. Will always love Kevin Owens. So, yeah, who's next on your list?
Yeah, dude, honestly, Owens is one of the most compelling sort of everyman figures in all of wrestling to me.
Absolutely.
So.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Number 2 for me, though, is Asuka. Again, she and Bianca are teaming a lot lately, and they're both putting on great matches, whether it's tagging with each other or in singles or whatever. I'm really loving their stuff. Asuka has just consistently been one of the best things on the main roster since she showed up there. She's always putting in that extra work to make sure that the crowd is entertained, and I love her for it. And that's really all it is.
Bro, I really hope when Asuka calls it a career that WWE fans and the locker room just give her flowers, because what she's managed to do as, a Japanese talent transplanted to America is nothing short of phenomenal. I really think Asuka, what she's managed to do, at the risk of being hyperbolic, especially in the WWE system, when we know from the Vince McMahon thread and stuff, and he was in power a long time, even during Asuka's run, the racism and everything else, I think what she's managed to achieve is damn near unprecedented. I once heard people, like a friend of mine, make the argument that she had a Hall of Fame worthy career just from her NXT run alone. Yeah. And I honestly think you have a case there. Yeah. But she absolutely is a Hall of Famer. Like, this woman is just unfucking believable. So I love that you gave Asuka her flowers, and I hope we continue to do that, just until she calls it a career. Number 1 for me, Sami Zayn. I fucking love this dude. And it's such a story between me and Sami Zayn, because longtime listeners know I never connected with the underdog from the underground character in NXT. I think it was very similar to how I am, or how I was like with Daniel Bryan Danielson when he was in WWE. I can acknowledge that you're a really fucking good worker, and I'm talking all around when I say worker, not just in ring. But I don't know. I don't really actively think like, oh yeah, but I get sucked in when you do stuff. But man, the stuff that he's done the last really several years, because when he turned heel and he helped Kevin Owens against Shane McMahon, all the way back then, I'm like, oh man, this is fucking great. Like, this dude's got a fire in him. The conspiracy theory stuff was so poignant in the age that we live in. And he mined it for fucking gold. I still say that the failure was on WWE side. How you don't actually do a mockumentary that he has put together with him narrating it and put it on Peacock, the network, whatever, I don't understand. Like, I really don't understand. They were creative enough with Elias when he had that gimmick to have Spotify releases. You should have done a network special. I guarantee you, dude, a shit ton of people would have watched that, because I think Sammy has a very rabid fan base. I think that would have gotten over. But he was great there. The WrestleMania match he had with fucking, Steve-O and stuff, fucking amazing. Better than I think a lot of people expected. The stuff he is doing with the Bloodline now, which is more relevant to the grading period. Dude, when I tell you, it started with a clip on Twitter that I saw, him talking to Roman. Then it made me want to go on YouTube and scour the clips, as we talk about that I do. And I am so into Sammy and how Sammy's being received right now that Shay in our Discord posted a write-up about Sammy that somebody did, which was fantastic. And how Sammy really is like the quintessential magician of pro wrestling. He's so good at the sleight of hand. He's so good at the little things that you don't even notice because you're too wrapped up in the magic, that I stop everything I'm doing just to read an essay about Sammy and about how good he is. Drew failed to dethrone Roman, and he should have probably beaten him in Cardiff. I think it would have been an amazing moment for Drew. I keep getting pissed because I think, is Cody on the table? And I think he absolutely is. In an ideal world, a fucking underdog babyface Sami Zayn would beat Roman Reigns. And like, he's been heel so long and he's been an excellent heel for so long. I'm ready to see him go back to being a babyface just because I want that program between him and Roman. I don't want him to tag with Kevin. I think that's a waste of both guys' time. We already know about their relationship. You can go back to the tag titles maybe another time because the relationship will always be there. Yeah, and that's what I want to emphasize. It will always be there. This stuff that Sammy's doing with Roman, I think it's another lightning in a bottle situation to me. And if it doesn't culminate in Sammy at least like having a valiant effort against Roman Reigns, even if unsuccessful, I think it's wasted. I think him and Roman could do so much more together. The chemistry is just so there. And I think you could say that about Sammy with anybody. It's funny. I think a lot of what we praise Bryan Danielson for, and rightfully so, I honestly think you could say a lot similar about Sammy. I think they're guys that you just put them there with anybody, and they're going to give them the best stuff of their career and continue to make their own look impressive as hell. So, yeah, Sammy's my number one, and it's not even close because when I'm spending my off time reading articles or writing clips or just thinking about what he can do and do fantasy booking in my mind, if that's not a number one, I don't know what is. So, Sami Zayn. So, who rounds out your WWE list, friend?
Well, I will say there is nobody in pretty much all of wrestling that takes up parts of my mind when I'm not watching wrestling. So I can't say that I'm as passionate as you on this, but the one act in all of WWE that has consistently held my interest is Damage Control, and they are my number one.
Excellent. Excellent.
I thought they had a great match at Clash at the Castle. I love that Dakota Kai is actually being allowed to wrestle like Evie basically did before she came to WWE, before she got neutered basically by NXT. I love that Io is finally getting a platform and some spotlight. I love that Bayley basically crafted this faction in her own sort of mind. And I love the idea that this got shut down by Vince and Triple H gave it the go-ahead almost immediately after getting control of the company. I love that they are consistently featured. I'm very much looking forward to the singles feud between Bianca and Bayley for the Women's Championship. I hope Bayley wins it. I hope she gets a fucking reign of terror of her own under her belt, where every time it looks like she's going to lose the title, one of or both of Io and Dakota prevent it from happening. I want everything for this faction. I want them to take over. I want Bayley to get to the level that Becky was once at as far as being the top draw in the company.
And I think she can do it, man.
Absolutely,
I really
yes.
do. Yeah, I think she can do it. I love that you gave Damage Control their flowers in this way. I think it's fucking awesome. And I think that's a great way to round out your WWE list. So unless you have anything else to say, we can move on to our AEW list, and you can begin with your honorable mentions.
Excellent. Yeah. So as far as my honorable mentions go in AEW, my number 5 is Miro. My number 4 is Athena. My number 3 is Hook. My number 2 is Jamie Hayter. And my number 1 is The Acclaimed.
Okay. My honorable mentions from 5 to 1. 5, Jamie Hayter. 4, The Acclaimed. 3, Swerve in Our Glory. 2, Bryan Danielson. 1, Daniel Garcia.
Okay.
So, who starts your AEW Fave 5?
Give me just a second. I'm actually catching up on your honorable mentions. Daniel Garcia. Okay. Number 5 on my AEW Fave 5 is the douchebag himself, Christian Cage. He has been
Amazing.
so good on TV, cutting great promos. And even though I do know now that his match was so short last night because he is currently injured, and that is unfortunate, I am beyond stoked that the way that they are going to work around his injury is by having Luchasaurus wrestle in his place. At least that's my guess. I love that Luchasaurus is back with him and that he's back to being heel. A brutal, dominant Luchasaurus, I think, is good for the product overall. I think that Luchasaurus being Christian's sort of heavy works really well. It worked really, really well when Jungle Boy was out. I loved it. I love the presentation. I love Christian Cage as the mouthpiece. He's a great talker. And even when he does get an opportunity to work matches, which obviously he probably won't now for a little while, but when he does and when he has over the last few months, it's been great. He's still an amazing in-ring worker. So all the props in the world of Christian Cage. Love the dude. Hoping he recovers well from his injury that he's got going on.
Absolutely. Nothing but the best to Christian. That's unfortunate. Number 5, MJF. Because here's the thing. He only returned last night, but this is Five Fave Five. This is about the people that get a reaction out of you, that you really enjoy, etc., etc. So he could have been on screen for 5 seconds during the grading period, and if it was 5 seconds that popped me more than anything else relative to other performers, that's what this commentary is about. And I can tell you, I was so underwhelmed by All Out last night that for me, the idea that we got that payoff with MJF while I'm wearing the scarf that Abel generously got me, I might add, put the biggest smile on my face. I've been bopping to the theme ever since. I watched the return several times from different fan perspectives. He just recently tweeted something. I was right on top of it, liking and retweeting it. I'm all about this fucking dude. I'm thinking AEW Grand Slam in Long Island is where he'll cash in his title shot.
Yep.
I hope he fucking wins. Fuck CM Punk.
Yes.
Fuck this whole situation.
Yes.
And I'll even say, I still think Moxley should be world champion. And do I think MJF or Punk, like either of them is better than Moxley? Personally, no, as far as like a world champion, because I love the way Moxley carried himself. But I'll fucking take that shit over CM Punk. I'm over it. I'm done. But yeah, MJF, even though he just returned last night, I understand that. That's why he's only at 5. Gave me the most energy probably on the whole show that wasn't Ishii, Eddie Kingston. So yeah, just wanted to give him his love there. Who is next on your list?
Number 4 on my AEW list is House of Black.
Love it. Love it.
You love it, and I love them. I fucking love this trio. I honestly, Malachi is my favorite, but I fucking love Matthews, man. He is so good. And if anyone in this group is anywhere close to taking over that number 1 spot from Malachi, it is him. Brody King's really good, and I might even underrate him because he has had some of the craziest fucking spots that I've seen in a while over the course of the last, 3 months or so, grading period, basically. He is definitely a talented dude. He is definitely a very imposing dude. And I very much look forward to this group either reuniting or just doing more because I don't know what's going on with Malachi. And I'm really happy that I was able to work them into this Fave 5 because it might be the last time that I get to work them into anything because I don't know how much longer they're going to be around if Malachi's stepping away or getting released or whatever the fuck. I don't know what's going on with him, and I hope that we don't lose him because he is extremely, extremely compelling to me.
Yes, absolutely. I really hope that everything will be okay with Malachi. Dude's wonderful. I've never heard a bad thing about him. Seems like a consummate pro. Seems like, and it seems weird to say this about a man so imposing as him, he seems like a sweetheart, like backstage and everything. I wish the dude the best. And I'm happy that we're taking his mental health and stuff seriously, because I know like a lot of men struggle with that and they feel like they have to struggle with it silently because toxic masculinity and all that shit. So I really do hope he comes out of it okay. Next on my list, Wheeler Yuta. Really enjoying how this is developing within the really enjoying how this dude's developing with the Blackpool Combat Club. Think he's growing very well. The ROH Pure Champion. Still really want that feud between him and Lee Moriarty. I think the skit that he did with fucking Stokely for Twitter was fucking hilarious. The whole slapbox thing shows that he's got a personality and a sense of humor. I would like to see more of that personality come out a bit, because I do think his mic game is a bit iffy, but I think it could honestly be better. I do see a personality there. I want to see him tap into it. But yeah, I think he's got great packaging, great presentation. I think he's really solid in the ring. I know at times, like, because I know there have been like battle royals and stuff to determine contenders for the world title during this grading period. And there were times like, yeah, I'd really root for him to get the title shot. He had that match with Chris Jericho where if he beat Jericho, he'd get the title shot. I was rooting for him then too. I like Yuta. I want to see him make it to the main event. So that's why he's number 4. Who is next on the list?
Very interesting. Very interesting. I didn't think you were that into Yuta, man. I really didn't know. Number 3 on my list, though, is Swerve in Our Glory, man. I fucking love these guys. I feel like if they were both working singles matches, they would probably be, like, number 1 and number 3 for me, if I had to guess. Because I know how much I love heel Swerve when he's allowed to be heel Swerve, and I love him. And he would probably be number 1 for me very quickly if he got pushed as a singles act, especially as a heel. And I fucking love Keith Lee, especially when he's getting a singles push and he's allowed to have his crazy ass Hoss matches like we've seen him have. Like, God, I swear, who are we just Hobbs? Let's do fucking Hobbs and Wardlow. Have Hobbs win the TNT title, and then let's do Keith Lee versus Hobbs, please.
That sounds fucking great.
I'm saying, like, I know they've already wrestled, but it was like, I don't know, it was long enough ago, and it was like not taken seriously to the point that I feel like they could still have a much better match. I love both these guys so much, and I watched their presser last night, like the media scrum that they did, and they're both great. And I love that they have such different outlooks. Like, they're still low-key. Keith Lee, I don't think is capable of being a heel. Like, I'm sure if he really committed to it, he could, but he's just not believable as a heel to me. He's just too much of a fucking sweetheart. He's too much of a fucking teddy bear. I just want to hug this man. And Swerve is such a natural fucking heel, dude. He was so good at the scrub last night. Tony Khan was like, I don't know about you guys, but I think that running it back with the Acclaim versus you guys would be another great opportunity for us to do at the title, the big, I forget the name of the show. The big show that's coming in. Yeah, Grand Slam. And Keith Lee was like, well, if that's how you feel, then yeah, we'll take it to him. And Swerve was like, why? We just beat them. They're at the back of the line. Why would they do that? How would they earn the shot again? Like, Swerve was going in on Tony, and I fucking loved him for it. He was saying what I was thinking. I fucking love Swerve, dude. He, like, as a single star, I'm telling you, as a single star, as a solo act, Swerve has the potential to be my number 1 in the world. Swerve's just straight up there. Like, if he gets the right push as the right type of character, he's shooting up to number 1 on my master list. He's already been there in multiple companies. I'm pretty sure he was number 1 for me in my master list at one point in NXT. And Killshot was number 1 for me at one point while he was in Lucha Underground. He's just that dude for me. I fucking love this guy.
I mean, I love it. I've always loved how passionate you've been about Swerve. My only concern about Swerve really has nothing to do with him and more about companies. I have to wonder if him and Malachi suffer from a similar problem, that the companies that get them don't know what they have in them. Because I'm still waiting for it to really click in one company. That's why I feel like, you know, oddly enough, for all the shit that I've given them in the past, and I haven't, like, watched them as in a full episode of them in a few years at this point, I do wonder if fucking Impact, of all places, would know what they would have in a guy like Swerve and if he would have been world champion already. I really have to fucking wonder.
They already have Chris Bay, and they don't do shit with him.
And that's really unfortunate. That's really unfortunate. So yeah, Swerve's got the goods, man. And I actually am inclined to agree with you. I think if he was pushed as like a serious main event singles guy, like he would break on my radar more than he has. Him and Keith both. I did put him in honorable mentions, but I don't know, man. For me, like I don't want to be that guy, but I feel like the most compelling Keith was for me was in PWG, oddly enough, in places like that, because I really felt it was like, we know what we have here. This guy's an attraction. This guy's a behemoth. And when it comes to Swerve, I mean, Lucha Underground, just with their narrative storytelling, made it so great. And if they ever wanted to bring him back, like in an alternate universe when Lucha Underground still existed, I could have seen them bringing him back as like an alternate character like they did with other acts. Your arc as the soldier is over. How about you come back and you do this for a little bit? And I really would have liked to think that maybe one day he would have been a future world champion there. It's just, I don't know, man. These two guys are so fucking good. And I feel like the trains just keep missing each other or some shit. I don't know. It's really frustrating. But I loved everything you said about Swerve. I'm going to get on with my list. Number 3 for me is Wardlow. Got to give big credit to Wardlow. When we first saw the vignette for him, the very first one, my immediate thought was, looks great, is probably going to be green as goose shit forever, and they're not going to get their return on their investment. But I'll give credit to AEW. I can be very critical of them. They took their time with him. They built him up. They paired him with MJF. They did that whole thing. I know MJF had his own stuff going on, but he did show up to put Wardlow over to big pops from the crowd. Got the TNT title. I think he's been progressing at a nice rate relative to his skill level. And he's really kind of ironed a lot of stuff out in the ring. I think his stuff in the ring, it's believable. It's attractive just in the sense of like, yeah, I want to see him clothesline a guy's head off. I think he knows what he is, who he is, and why people pay to see him. And he delivers. Angel in our All Out chat last night made an interesting point where he's like, I don't really like the powerbomb as a finish. There are many other moves that you can choose from. And like I told him then, and I'll reiterate it now, what I like about the powerbomb symphony is one, that it's believable, because if you get powerbombed 3 or 4 times by a guy that looks like Wardlow does, you're getting pinned for 3. So it is a believable finish to me. But more than that is, it involves the crowd, which tells me that Wardlow, as a babyface, has a very keen understanding of how this is supposed to fucking work. Especially if you're going against a top heel, like just in a hypothetical, right? Say MJF beats CM Punk, and say he goes on a long fucking reign. And during that reign, Wardlow drops the TNT title. Well, who's a great fucking fit to beat MJF in their history? Fucking Wardlow.
Yeah, good point.
And given that MJF is such a fucking douchebag, if he's going on now in that 7 to 9 month territory, and they're in a like sold out arena of 50,000 people or however fucking many, and this dude power bombs MJF, say 5 fucking times, it's going to get a pop all 5 fucking times. So, yeah I think
honestly,
Wardlow...
dude, that could be MJF's way of repaying Wardlow for the bullshit that he caused Double or Nothing weekend this year.
Yeah, and I could see it happening, man. I could see it happening, because if it was a work, well, sometimes people can get hurt in a work, and you should pay it forward to them because they took it on the chin like a consummate pro. If it wasn't, don't fucking stain your own reputation, and don't be a dick, because wrestling, there is no... Al Snow said it best. There is no main event without a curtain jerker. Wrestling at its core is a communal enterprise. We're all working together to put a show on, from the backstage hands to the fucking talent. We all have to make this magic happen. So don't be a dick and give the guy the big fucking moment. And Wardlow as a babyface, let me tell you something, guys. This dude will make money with this fucking company, and he will pop crowds, and he will sell shirts for as long as he fucking wants. In fact, I would even go as far as to say, I don't know if I'd ever want to see him go heel again, unless they did it, oddly enough, to the guy that he's most compared to, in a Batista-type situation, and he goes after an even more beloved babyface. But he keeps that charisma, and he keeps that energy. And that's the thing. I worry about Wardlow's promos. I don't know if he's the most charismatic verbally. I think his charisma translates in the ring. And that's another reason why I'd be scared about him ever going heel in the future. Because if your charisma comes in the ring, well, you have to give that up if you're going to be an effective heel, to me. So I don't know, because I'm really tired of that whole cool heel bullshit. But for who he is right now, Wardlow's fucking fantastic. I'm really enjoying his TNT title reign. He's definitely a future world champion. Everybody can see it. And yeah, he's going to be making money with this company for as long as he wants. So who is next on your list?
On my list, number 2 is... yeah, we're on 2. Andrade El Idolo.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Oh, man, let me tell you. This dude, I mean, we talk about Malachi Black, we talk about Swerve, and we talk about Andrade, and I feel like those are like the 3 dudes for me that are like the ones that got away from WWE. Like, those 3 dudes could have been a fucking, like, you combine those 3 with, like, Drew, and there's your new 4 pillars right there in WWE. That's like...
Yeah, definitely.
And hell, throw Keith in there, too. You don't even, I love all those guys, but Andrade is just so good. Like, it's funny, Regal has talked about Bryan Danielson being the perfect wrestler. I feel like if we had a Spanish William Regal, Andrade would be his perfect wrestler. Because Andrade is the perfect wrestler to me. This dude is fucking incredible. Everything he does in the ring is crisp as fuck. And I think we can almost make like Sonata comparisons to him too, because he's one of the safest workers I've ever seen. He is so good at protecting his opponent. He's so good. Even if it's like something as simple as like, oh, the opponent's going to do a dive on him, he puts himself on the line. He will catch you every single time. He puts his entire body behind catching people. The way that like guys like The Miz fucking wish they had the balls to pull that kind of shit off. I love Andrade. I love his matches. I love his charisma. I love his like aura, his vibe. I just love everything about this dude, and I wish nothing but the best for him. And I really, really love that we are basically getting La Facción Ingobernable, and I really hope that it ends up being more about Andrade than it ends up being about Rush. And I really hope that we get more Dragon Lee, because that trios match was fucking nuts. That included all 3 of them.
Given that they turned on Dragon Lee after their loss, I just hope we get more Dragon Lee in AEW in general.
Dude, if that translates to Andrade versus Dragon Lee matches, please sign me the fuck up.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I love the love that you consistently give Andrade. I'm there with you spiritually. I'm just really getting frustrated with how companies handle Andrade. And it's just like, again, I'll even say again, am I an MJF fan? Fuck yeah. Andrade should have won that fucking ladder match. There were so many other ways you could have. The most easy way to get MJF that title shot, if you wanted to tell that story, was okay, we'll give you a fucking title shot whenever you want it. And, he would have waited for Punk to be champion. Then he's like, oh, look, we're in Long Island. And then you could have had Andrade shot either before that or after it. But it would have given him some spotlight, too. This dude is so fucking good. And when you talk about him protecting people, dude, this dude is so fucking good. He protected Ric Flair from himself.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
Dude, yeah, you're not even kidding. That's like, that's a very small, but I will say that is a small part of my reasoning for talking about how safe this dude is. This dude is so fucking good. Like, he and I would say Jay Lethal, and you know what, actually I can't even give credit to Jay Lethal. Low-key, Andrade and Jeff Jarrett carried that match.
Yeah.
Like, Jay Lethal was aight. He did his thing, but he didn't go above and beyond the way Lethal, or the way that Andrade and Jarrett did. And I don't even fucking like Jeff Jarrett. Fuck Jeff Jarrett. But he was great in that match.
Yeah, absolutely. So, fucking Andrade, you goddamn king. I hope a world title finds its way to him someday, and until then, I at least hope the checks are fat enough for what they're doing.
Wardlow's doing fucking nothing right now. He's doing jack shit. I'm sick and tired of the Jay Lethal garbage. Send Andrade after Wardlow.
Yeah, that'd be a great fucking match. Yeah. I don't know, man. But Andrade's a goddamn king.
Hell, we should literally get a feud out of every single member of Malcolm Bivens' faction versus every single member of the ladder match that we just saw last night. And let me have Andrade versus Lee Moriarty, please.
Yes, absolutely. Number 2 for me, Christian Cage.
Ooh, I love it. Number 2, yes.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to go full dick because I've been suppressing it the whole commentary,
Wait,
especially for MJF.
was your number 5, and that was you suppressing your inner dick?
Yes, because I'm about to go even harder here to keep up with the dick euphemism for a Christian here. Christian reminds me of why I love loving heels. It's because you get to laugh at others without the guilt. And I have been laughing at Jungle Boy this whole fucking time, thanks to Christian being as brilliant as he is. When you can tell somebody's mother that their son is going to be eating birthday cake through a straw and that they raised a piece of shit, and then the sensible people listening to you are like, right? That's fucking magical, people. I fucking love this dude. And again, that's why I said with MJF, I'm going to play fair. He just came back, number 5. That's why I really didn't have much to say. Christian, though, given that he's been very active, even if only in promos, this grading period, I love the manipulation. I love, because we talk about Edge's ability to meme, and he has it. I mean, even getting low-blowed by Dominic, Edge showed that, like, this is just a gift I own until I'm ready to relinquish it, and I'm never going to, so deal with it. Christian has a similar quality because when he manipulated Luchasaurus and then Luchasaurus is going to the back and Christian's like smiling at the crowd like, got him, you stupid dinosaur. Amazing. Eat my crumbs and enjoy it. I love this dude's delivery and promos because he knows he's the shit because he's already done it. And all these marks that are like, oh, you know, Jungle Boy is so great and thinking about their spots and everything else. And Christian's just like, listen, man. I'm a fucking legend. I'm not here to pop you. I'm not here to do crazy spots. I'm here to make fucking money. And I'm like, yeah, Kevin Nash approved, baby. Make that fucking money. I think he's an amazing heel. I love that Luchasaurus has turned heel on Jungle Boy, and I hope he's going to run with Christian again because I love that pairing. If you're going to make Christian more of a manager and, like, he's winding down as a competitor, you know, hell, I once ranked Stokely when he was Malcolm for NXT because he was genuinely one of the best parts on there. And I'll tell you guys, for AEW, given how I feel about it, if you're going to keep just giving Christian a mic, Christian with a mic outperforms most people they do in the ring in this company.
Dude, he's so fucking good. He's so compelling on the mic. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if people find that to be hyperbolic or even offensive, but maybe the product should suck less for what I like. Just, for me. Now, granted, for some people, maybe the product's amazing right now. Cool. But for me, right now, I would take a Christian promo over matches for most people in this company.
And you say most people, not all people. So, we're not saying that we'd rather watch a Christian promo than, an Athena match or a Danielson match or a Moxley. There's still a handful of people whose matches are great and really good and that we'd want to watch. But when you compare Christian promos to, the Ass Boys matches, or to, fucking Anna Jay matches, or to fucking Cole Carter, whoever the fuck that is, his matches, or, the fucking Varsity Blondes, we don't give a shit.
Yeah. Christian
and
captures
speaking of
my
the Varsity
attention
Blondes, they are one of the entities, I should say, that Christian beat during this grading period, because it was that little feud that we had, and Christian and Luchasaurus beat them in a tag match on Dynamite on a Fyter Fest episode.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, after All Out, Jungle Boy, Christian may not be your father, but he sure as shit was your daddy. And you should have known to respect him and know your fucking place.
Oh, dude, that's so fucked up. You just appropriated one of the best emotional moments in the MCU's history and turned it into a dickhead move.
One of my best heel moments by far. I earned that one. I fucking love this man. He makes me proud to be a fucking hater. He makes me fucking proud to thrive off negativity. He makes me fucking proud to be a heel and to say with my whole chest that I fucking love douchebags. Amazing. This dude is untouchable. And if he's managing Luchasaurus, and this will be the final serious point, because I want to bring it down before I transition to Ash and getting back to his list. If he's going to be in more of a managerial role and just really work in a limited capacity in the ring, get the fucking TNT title on Luchasaurus, and hell, if I have it my way, eventually get the world title on Luchasaurus. Dude's a fucking behemoth, and with a guy like Chris fucking, that's such an incredible pairing that I haven't seen since James Mitchell and Early Abyss. Get that shit and take it all the way to the fucking top. So, yeah, I just had to give Christian his flowers because he has consistently been one of the most entertaining things about AEW for me during this grading period. And honestly, it's not even really that close.
Yeah.
So who is next on your list, friend?
Number one on my AEW list is about as predictable as it gets. It's Bryan Danielson.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's really simple. He's just my favorite wrestler in the world right now, I think. He's so good.
Yeah.
Every time he touches a mic, every time he gets in the ring, even when his music plays, it just gets me so excited and it makes me so happy and it just puts a smile on my face. This dude is legitimately just one of the greatest of all time, and we're living to watch this dude do his work in real time, and it's like experiencing legend in the making. It's amazing. He's incredible. I really don't want to drone on and on because I don't really know what else I can say at this point.
Absolutely. I'm kind of in a similar boat with my number one, Jon Moxley. I mean, I've given the reasons in live reactions. I think he is one of the best promos in the company, if not the best. I love his matches. I totally get why people are really getting peeved with him bleeding in every match. And I don't think he bled last night, to his credit. If he would scale back the blood to like only doing it in 10% of matches even that are just like against really vicious people or really high stakes, I could forgive it. It is a bit excessive even for me. But everything else he does is so fucking good that it's hard for me to even really care that much. I think he's an amazing in-ring worker. I think he has a believability when he's a title holder. And I saw this even in WWE. So this isn't just an AEW thing that we've seen. Every time this dude holds a championship, he makes it seem like it's life or death to take it from him. And do you value your life enough, or do you think your value or your life is worth enough to come after me and to come for me for this? I love the conviction that he carries himself with, that he's the fucking best. He's probably looking at the circus right now. I don't know what's a work and what's a shoot. I'm not even going to begin to untangle that. That's not even why we're here. But he's probably looking at the AEW landscape and thinking like, wait a minute, you took the title off of me to take a chance on all this? What the fuck? This dude actually confronted his fucking problems, which maybe other people should take notes about. I don't know. And worked on himself, and he's come back, and he's consistently, both within this grading period and beyond, done, I think, some of the best work of his career. I think if you just scale back the bleeding and the gratuitous violence and you just focus on the wrestling, because he's not a bad wrestler at all, at all, I think he'd go even further. But for me, I think he's one of the best world champions I've ever seen. And to say that in an age where Roman Reigns legitimately has been doing astounding fucking work, and we stand Roman Reigns in this household, I would still say that Jon Moxley is one of the best world champions I've ever seen, because I believe him every time he comes out. So, yeah, like you, just the same talking points that I've always said about Moxley, but I just want to say it again here. We can now move on to our New Japan list, and I will begin the process for our honorable mentions. So, number 5, Juice Robinson. Number 4,
Okay.
Tanahashi.
Okay.
Number 3, Okada.
All right.
Number 2, Great Okan. Number 1, Kenta.
Kenta. Okay, dude. We actually have a decent amount in common on our on the honorable mentions. Let me actually just catch up real quick. Great Okan. All right. My honorable mention rather, from 5 to 1, the Great Okan, Hiroki Goto, Jeff Cobb, Lance Archer, and Kenta.
Very nice.
I guess we don't have a lot in common, but we do have Okan in common, and we also have Kenta at 6 together, basically.
Yeah, I really like
wanted
that.
Kenta to be on my list, but I just felt like there was no reasonable way for me to substitute anyone I know for him.
Hey, that's understandable, man. That's understandable. Coming in at number 5 for me, Ishii.
Oh my god, I love it. Yes, dude. Yes.
Bro, this is kind of a sad one, to be honest, because we might have just seen his last G1. I don't know. It feels weird because he's the Stone Pitbull, And I feel like, God, I don't mean this in cruel terms because I know even in context it's awful, but I feel like our dog is sick and we're just kind of comforting it and being affirming because you can see that the career trajectory for Ishii is changing potentially. He's so good. I don't think he's going to retire anytime soon. I'm not going to be absurd. But if he is starting to wind it down and maybe working in a more limited capacity, I want to thank Ishii for some of the best New Japan memories I think we've ever had covering this company. I think this dude, I have seen him over the years get more and more appreciation. I think there would have been a time where you could have made the argument that he was grossly underrated. Maybe I'm off base about that. That's just how I feel. But I think now today, I think you do have a lot of people that recognize that like he is the best dance partner that anybody could ask for in a ring. The idea that this man never got one Intercontinental title, I'm always going to feel salty about that. I'm sorry, New Japan. I just am. This man was so much more than the never open weight box that you kind of put him in. And like even the G1 this year, I feel like Jay White's best G1 match of his tournament experience was against Ishii. I don't think any match he had beyond that Ishii match really came close to me. The Great Okan match was fun. The Sonata match was honestly a bit underwhelming because I thought it would go longer and be more competitive, but whatever. Tama Tonga was okay. I just felt like Ishii gave him his best match of that G1. And Ishii could say that about a lot of people. I think he's had a solid career, a really strong one with great matches, but I feel like he never really got his flowers from the company for it.
Yeah.
And if this was his last G1, I mean, God, this G1 this year was so underwhelming, even with Ishii in it. If he's not going to be in it, I'm really going to feel some type of way. But he's fantastic, the true best bout machine, and I am happy to see more people waking up to that. Who would have thought that a dude that looks like he does, this stocky, kind of, built out, no-neck guy, would be one of the best wrestlers in the fucking world? And all my love and all my respect. Look, if Christian was me at my most absurd and my most just having fun, cutting loose, Ishii really is where I'm my most grounded and sincere, having watched wrestling for over 20 years. And he's one of the best performers I've ever seen. And I really hope it wasn't his last G1, but if it was, thank this man so much for just everything. Every match he gave us, everything, because now if he's working in a more limited capacity, who knows when we'll see him again. And I'll say, too, even though it isn't in New Japan, and I really didn't think about this, I was keeping it to the G1. That match he had with fucking Kingston was the best match on the fucking pay-per-view, and you're not even an AEW guy. Like, this dude, unfucking deniable. So, who begins your New Japan list, friend?
Well, I think that New Japan might put him at 1, or at the very least they would put him at 2. But he's at number 6, or I guess at number 5, I should say, for me. And that is the Ace. That's right. It's Tanahashi at number 5.
All right.
Yeah, man. I fucking love Tana, man. He's really grown on me, let me put it that way. I wasn't into him at first because I felt like he was over-pushed, and I know he got compared to Cena a lot, but even then, I've always pushed against that comparison. I've always been the guy that's like, no, he's less Cena, more Austin, because he, like, saved the company from death and stuff like that, the way Austin did in the 90s. But, like, at the end of the day, my love for Tanahashi, first of all, it never dies. But second of all, it kind of comes at me in waves, where there will be a time where I'm like, just kind of in thought, like, man, Tanahashi's so good. I love that dude. But then there will be times like now where I'm like, fuck, I love this dude. He's so fucking good. I want to watch all of his matches. He's just unbelievable. And that's kind of, like I said, that's kind of where I'm at right now. He is, like, my love for Tanahashi is at one of my all-time highs right now. His G1 was awesome, even though he didn't win a ton of matches. I think he won 3 or 4. He is just consistently, I don't care who you put him against, he finds a way to make the other dude compelling and make the match compelling. And that, to me, is the sign of a true wrestler.
I love that. I love how you ended that. 4 for me, Sonata. What more can I say that hasn't already been said? This dude, again, is just so fun to watch, and yet he's one of the safest workers you can ask to be paired with in New Japan.
Yep.
It's really amazing. The idea that this dude has yet to really be a world champion, main event of Wrestle Kingdom, or really achieve any really major milestone in the company, I'm really fucking salty about it. In fact, the gloves are off. New Japan, you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't know what the fuck you've been waiting for with this dude, especially when he's genuinely fucking over with crowds. But it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to me that even if we're just going by world titles, Evil accomplished something before Sonata did. And that's not me trying to hate on Evil, but like the crowd response to Sonata, I never saw them respond to Evil once he left LIJ. And I have to even wonder if that was more them responding to Evil or more them just, or less them responding to Evil and more them responding to LIJ just as a unit, right? Like the idea of the faction. But Sonata can stand on his own 2 feet. We've seen people like root for him and want things for him personally, and it just hasn't fucking happened. I think he's a great fucking athlete. He's got an amazing look. He has a fucking mane. He's a fucking lion. Literally your logo is a fucking lion. This dude looks like a lion. And no world titles, no Intercontinental title, because that doesn't even exist anymore, which still pisses me off and will never not piss me off. Didn't even get a U.S. title run because of that whole fucking debacle and all that crazy bullshit. Just nothing. It's just failure after failure after failure. It didn't even come close to the G1 this year. Not even close.
That's one of the first people eliminated from the G1 this year.
Yeah. Like, it's inexcusable and it's disgraceful. This dude should be what you push and what you get behind. And if there are still kinks to work out in wrestling culture, it's because we're not platforming, even in terms of like how they work in the ring. I got no problem with Ibushi. Ibushi's a fucking sweetheart. But like I've already said, like his style, you could see he's paying the price for the style that he wrestled. I want more Sonatas and less Ibushis. But we're not going to get that until we internalize the idea and the culture positions the idea that if you are a Sonata, you get rewarded. And if that hasn't happened, then more people are going to be Ibushi because Ibushi main evented Wrestle Kingdom. Ibushi won fucking world title. He won fucking G1s. So I hate it. I hate the culture that Sonata finds himself in because he's safe. He never hurts anybody, but he literally has fucking nothing to show for it. And, you know, it is a business. And obviously you're going to make more money if you're in those spots and you're winning titles. So if I want to make more money and provide for myself, guess I got to be an Ibushi and kill myself. And you know, being a Sonata just isn't good enough. So there's a lot about it that angers me, but focusing on Sonata, he's a terrific performer. He does everything right. And really, to me, Sonata is the quintessential performer where it's the company that's wrong, not the performer. So yeah. Who's next on your list?
Before I do go on to my number 4, I do just want to kind of double down with you. Referring to Ibushi, actually, specifically, I love Ibushi, but I don't think that Ibushi knows why we love him.
Yeah.
Because he seems to have this sort of perpetual need to put his own body through hell, and I don't think he realizes that that part of his game is not the reason why we fucking love him.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
I would make the argument that that's the worst part of Ibushi's matches is when Ibushi just decides to fuck his own neck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, my favorite shit that Ibushi does has nothing to do with him injuring his own body at all. It's all just like his intensity and how he just fully commits to the moves that he does. And like his selling is very convincing, but his bumping is too much.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
All right, so next up, number 4 on my list is Jay White, the Switchblade.
Oh, excellent.
Again, I kind of made this list just based on who I look most forward to seeing, and I love Tanahashi, but I look forward to Jay White's stuff more. And whether it's promos or matches or whatever, Jay White is... He's kind of taken that Kenny Omega spot in New Japan where he's kind of the new match of the year machine in my mind.
Yeah, dude, yeah, that last bit I definitely co-sign. Absolutely. He's been killer lately.
I think Will Ospreay aspires to be in that spot, but I think Jay White snuck in there and stole it out from under him.
And the thing is, I don't want to turn this into a bully session on Ospreay, but like with Ospreay, you can tell that it's like it's got a bit of try-hard energy to it. Jay White's just like, no, son, I understand the game. Like dude, I think his psychology as a heel is some of the best I've ever seen. I don't know how you feel about it because I know you've praised Jay White's psychology before, like in matches. But I think just the little things that he does, he's so good, dude. Fucking love
him. He really is.
Number 3 for me might surprise some people. Lance Archer. I fucking loved him in this G1. I
think he was Archer, in my honorable mentions. I had him effectively at number 7.
Yeah. He was so good. I was rooting for him to win the A block. I knew Okada was going to win, but I honestly was really keen on the idea of Archer winning the A block. I think he's got presence. I think the way he moves at his age, the idea that he does a new school, which is pretty much the Undertaker's maneuver, but a moonsault at the end, and it looks fucking great. The EBD claw is great. The blackout's a believable finish. Great presentation, great packaging. The promo you sent me that he cut backstage after his G1 experience where it was all fired up and he wants a championship and he doesn't care we'll have to go to get it. Yeah, this dude's awesome. He doesn't really make a ruckus like outside of the ring, keeps to himself, but when the bell rings, he exudes all the presence that's healthy to exude and that's conducive to exude for his business and the business he's working for. Dude's the consummate fucking pro. Again, his G1 matches were some of my favorite the whole tournament. And yeah, I do hope he wins a championship before he calls it a career, whether it's a TNT title, maybe he'll find his way in Impact and do something. I don't know. But yeah, his G1 definitely put a smile on my face. And this is just me giving him his flowers. Wanted him to win the A block. Love what this dude's about. Can't wait to see him again. So he was number 3 for me. Who is next on your list?
I love it, man. I love it. Number 3 for me, it's going to be a short one because it's Tomohiro Ishii. And honestly, I will admit I did at least somewhat include the amazing match with Kingston last night as a part of this because he is still primarily a New Japan guy, but my God, that match with Kingston legitimately, I think that was my second favorite Ishii match of this grading period with Cobb being number 1. Or actually, no, it wasn't Cobb. Who did Ishii face that we loved so much?
Jay White, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. Thank you. Yep, Jay White, again, number 4 on my list. So yeah, Ishii is fucking awesome. His matches are always great. I look forward to his matches more than almost anyone. And yeah, you pretty much covered everything about him earlier. It's a shame that he's probably never going to be world champion, and I am going to be very, very angry if we never see him in another G1 again. Because, like, realistically, he and Ibushi are the 2 guys that you and I look most forward to seeing in G1s, and now Ibushi's injured, and Ishii's, like, ready to be done with them, apparently. So it pisses me off, and it's really sad and really annoying at the same time.
Yes. Number 2 for me, Jay White. I think you gave a brilliant exposition about why Jay White is so good. I really don't have much to add. If this dude is a knife pervert, he can perv all the knives he wants. I'll leave all my knives out, and roll the red carpet out for him just so that he could do whatever he wants.
I mean, after all, knives are inanimate objects. It's not like we have to worry about them giving consent.
Exactly. See, this guy gets it. But Jay White, I feel like quietly, and maybe not so quietly, depending on who you ask, really is in that mix for best wrestler in the world right now. I understand completely why guys like Danielson and others monopolize the conversation, but Jay White's got a seat at the table. And it may not be at the head of the table, pun intended there, but, he's in the mix. He's in the conversation. I think this dude's heel work is amazing. I love how he works a crowd. I love how he works a match. Again, going back to the psychology, the little things. I love his offense. Ever since he really got his moveset snug and just worked out, I think he's just been such a well-rounded performer. It's been fantastic. And I hope he retains at Wrestle Kingdom against Okada. And I hope he actually has a legitimate fucking title reign. So, yeah. Who is number 1 on your New Japan list, friend?
You mean number 2?
Oh, you're only at number... Oh, right, because I went first on this. That's right. So who's number 2 on your list?
Number 2 on my New Japan list is the man that you just brought up, Jay White, retaining against the Wrestle Kingdom. It's Lil Kazu! It's Kazuchika Okada.
Amazing.
He's gonna make it rain!
Oh my God.
I fucking love Okada, man. It's weird because it's gotten to the point that I love him so much as a performer that it's almost like gone past love into meme territory. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like I've like memed him into people's hearts and maybe even deeper into mine. Because he's so entertaining, but at the same time, he's such a goofball. He really is.
Yeah.
Like, between the fucking red hair balloon era and like the, oh, I'm not going to use the Rainmaker for a full year because fuck you, I'm better than 98% of this roster even without it. Or even like now he's just back on his bullshit like, oh, I don't want the IWGP World Title to go away. I don't know why you fuckers want it to, and he just wins it anyway. It's like, I just love him, man. He seems like a genuinely hilarious dude, like in real life. Plus, on top of that, just being one of the best wrestlers on the fucking planet. Like, yeah, it's a recipe for success, and I love Okada, and he's number 2 on my list.
It's amazing when you can meme and still be in the right. Like, and that's Okada. That's fucking Okada. Oh, God. Number 1 for me, Zack Sabre Jr.
Wow!
I really enjoyed his G1 this year, and I think he still had one of the funniest moments of the G1 for me when he beat Evil so fucking quickly after duping him with a young lion. I was rooting back to win the G1. I was hoping to beat Naito, but then Naito embarrassed him. But to Zach's credit, he also made that one of the funniest moments in the G1 because his extended temper tantrum was amazing.
And you know what? Zach's temper tantrum was great, but Naito trolling him about it was maybe even better, honestly.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I will say, too, I saw a clip recently of a press conference promo that ZSJ gave, because apparently, New Japan's on tour, and he's going to be working across from Naito the whole tour. And Zach obviously hates it because him and Naito are forever rivals. Yeah. But he said the only good thing is that he'll get to look at Sonata's beautiful face, and now I ship ZSJ and Sonata. Let's make it fucking happen.
Oh, my God.
Let's make a ZSJ Sonata tag team. I would genuinely be interested in that. So, yeah. I think he's awesome. Love that he won the New Japan Cup this year. Loved his tournament. Again, was rooting for him to win. But you know what, though? Naito got him, and the troll job was pretty great. So I guess we'll see. I don't know. Zach may very well in the next, maybe 2-3 years, if at all. But I would say next 2-3 years, if it was going to happen, may become IWGP Heavyweight Champion. I feel like New Japan is really starting to warm up to him. I think he's starting to kind of hit his stride. I felt like the crowd was maybe getting more behind him, but I don't know if they want to keep him as a babyface or if they still see him as more heel. I don't know where Zach is on that front. I'm just having a good time with it, not trying to overthink it. So that's number 1 there. So now I'm curious who's number 1 on your New Japan list, since Lil Kazu was only number 2.
Bro, I swear to God, you and I are mentally and psychically linked somehow. Because you just shipped your number 1 with my number 1.
Oh my God. Sonata's your number 1?
Yes, dude. Sonata is my number 1. I fucking love him so much. You praised the hell out of him earlier for how safe he works, and I'm just like, you know what? Yeah. Sonata really is the spitting image of what we should be striving for the wrestling culture to become at some point. He's an amazing guy. Here's the thing too, I say that about Sonata and not a guy like Bryan Danielson because look at this motherfucker. He looks like a fucking Chad. He's 6'1". He's handsome as hell. You mentioned it. He's got a fucking mane. He doesn't sacrifice the look, quote unquote, meaning he looks like he could be a fucking superhero, and he's athletic as hell, and he's charismatic as hell, and he works safely. And yet, his matches are still super compelling. I fucking love Sonata.
When you said he was a Chad, all I'm thinking is Sonata could steal my girlfriend, and I'd be happy for them.
Yeah! I'd be way to trade up, right?
He's amazing. He deserves so much more than this fucking company gives him. It actively pisses me off.
It really is annoying.
Jesus Christ.
I will never understand how New Japan doesn't just get it with him.
I think I might love Sonata so much, even though he was number 4. Because you said, I think you made a great point about your WWE list where a number can only reflect so much. But I feel like I love Sonata so much. If he was to leave for, say, Noah, who really didn't set me on fire at all with the N1, I probably would re-up my Wrestle Universe subscription if Sonata went to Noah. And if they put the GHC heavyweight title on him immediately.
Oh my God, yes.
You're wasting him, New Japan. Do you even feel bad about it? No, of course you don't, because you're awful.
I I don't love anyone in Noah as much as I love basically anyone in my Fave 5 that we've done here for New Japan, or maybe even a guy or two, one of my honorable mentions. But, like, if Sonata can become the absolute king of a promotion, and I can still get great matches like him and Nakajima, him and Kiyomiya, him and Shiozaki, even him and like Keno or like Fujita or Funaki or Sugiura, like I'm sure those would be great matches. Give it to me. Please. I want this motherfucker to be the king of the world somewhere. Even if New Japan's like, no, he can't be that here. Fuck you, New Japan.
Yes, yes, yes. My energy to the fucking letter. What the fuck? Oh, man. So, you have anything else you want to say about Sonata, or are we going to get to that good shit, that fucking Stardom list?
I do think it is time to get into that Stardom stuff, yeah.
My friend, you may start us off.
I'm incapable of only having 5 people be my Stardom honorable mention because I love everyone too much. So,
that's a good problem to have.
My full Stardom honorable mention ended up being 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 women.
Let's count them off.
Number 13, Ami Sourei. Cracked my honorable mention even if it was just barely. Number 12, Natsupoi. Number 11, Mirai. Number 10, Hanan. Number 9, Lady C. Number 8, Julia. Number 7, Tam Nakano. Number 6, Maika. Number 5, Saki Kashima. Number 4, Mina Shirakawa. Number 3, Starlight Kid. Number 2, Himeka. And my top honorable mention was a Momo. And my number 5 on my actual 5-5 was also a Momo. Would you like to guess the order, John?
I'm going to say the 5 in Fave 5 was Kogo, and the honorable mention was Watanabe.
Well, I thought about that, but then I went back to convention. Kogo is my honorable mention.
You know what? Kogo will make it to the Fave 5, though. I have confidence in her.
It's very possible. I think the main reason that I put Momo Watanabe on the list over Kogo is because I just thought about their matches, and I'm like, you know what? I love Kogo's matches, but they're also, like, very paint by numbers, very, like, almost repetitive. Like, she has her signature spots that she does. Momo Watanabe is an artist, man. She's so fucking good.
She deserves everything. And it's funny that I say that because doing my honorable mentions, which, again, I do try and keep it to 5, and I think, actually, just a side note to everybody, I think Stardom started this for me because, like you, I love a lot of women on here, and I'm like, that's, like, it's getting out of control. Like, you need to get some kind of a hierarchy or something going on here. So, my honorable mention, 5, Momo Watanabe, 4, Maika, 3, Azumi, 2, Himeka, 1, Saya Kamitani.
Wow. I can't believe
yes.
you had Himeka. Wait, I'm confused. So to be clear, you have Momo as your lowest honorable mention and Kamitani as your highest.
Yes.
Wow. You just talked about how Momo deserves everything, and then you had her ranked 10th, basically.
A lot of people in Stardom deserve everything, man. Like you, I love a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I love a lot of people very intensely.
Yeah.
All
right. Well,
yeah.
Since we're talking about Momo, we might as well get into my number 5, which is Momo Watanabe.
Excellent.
I mean,
excellent.
I don't know how much there really is to say after the conversation we just kind of had. Like I said, I love Momo Kogo. She's really fun. She's really entertaining. But her matches really do feel very like paint by numbers. It feels like her matches are laid out for her. She has a few signature spots that she likes to get in every match. She does some fun high-speed stuff. She does some fun lucha stuff, and I do enjoy that. But when Momo Watanabe gets in the ring, and especially when it's a match that you know is going to get time, where it's like her against someone that's on her level or similar to her level, you just know you're in for a treat every time. And I don't just mean like, haha, this is fun kind of treat. I mean like, you're going to get sucked in and you're going to care, God damn it.
Yeah.
That's what Momo Watanabe does for me. She's very talented in that ring. I am still not quite fully recovered from the fact that Saya Ida beat her. It pisses me the fuck off. It annoys the shit out of me. And I really wish that we could just go back in time and make that not happen.
One day, friend. One day. 5 for me, Mina Shirakawa.
Nice. That's not surprising. I know you
just
love her.
I love her so much, man. She has worked so hard at this. She is one of the best figure fours in the business right now, mainly because she does it correctly. Um, it's really amazing how committed she's been to being a solid in-ring worker to the point where I really wanted her to beat Mayu in the Blue Stars block, and I was sad when she didn't get that win. I root for Mina. I was so happy for her when she beat Momo, but then Momo got the win back in the artist defense, which, was cool. I still want Mina to be a Wonder Stardom champion one day. I obviously have no delusions of her being the world champion, but if she ever pinned a world champion, like say if in a 5-star if her and Shuri were in the same block and she beat Shuri, I wouldn't shut the fuck up about it for the rest of the day. I'd be so fucking stoked for her. I'd be like, yeah, Mina, get those wins. She's just somebody that when I see her, I root for her to do her very best and to, go beyond it and to do things that she's never done. And I hope she continues to flourish in Stardom. And she's just incredible. I love her. She's so endearing. And the theme is still an absolute fucking bop. So who is next on your list, friend?
Number 4 on my list is Azumi.
Very cool. Very cool.
She's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like she is kind of closing in on that like Momo territory as far as in-ring goes. But to me, she just has so much more character and charisma than Momo. I love Momo, but she is very min-maxed to favor the in-ring. Like she's kind of like got that like Malenko vibe where she's very much like a very serious in-ring technician. She's an incredible ring worker. Character-wise, I mean, there's something there. It's not nothing, but it's not really anything compelling either, other than the history. Like if you think of Momo as just her current character, there's not much there. If you think of Momo as her history and like everything that she's been through, there's more to work with. But even still, like she's always really just kind of been a member of her faction. Like when she's first in Queen's Quest, she was just a member of Queen's Quest, and she acted like the way the Queen's Quest members acted. And now like she's in Oedo Tai, so she's just like a member of Oedo Tai, and now her whole gimmick is like the wrench, and that's all. That's it. Azumi though, Azumi's got fucking attitude. Azumi's got character. Azumi is very interesting even without being in the ring, and then she gets in the ring and blows your mind. So I feel like she's a much more complete performer than Momo, and I do love Momo. And I will say, I do think Momo is better than Azumi in the ring, even if that margin is closing in. It's getting smaller. Azumi does some stuff that no one else in Stardom does. There's no one in Stardom that does an Arachnorana. There's no one else in Stardom that does a fucking Frankendriver. There's no one else in Stardom that does the crazy-ass variations of arm bars that she does. She's very unique. She's kind of a one-of-one performer in Stardom. And she's not even 20 years old yet. And she's fucking incredible already. I fully expect her to be basically on that ace level within the next 3 to 5 years. Easily.
Definitely. She's so fucking good. Number 4 for me, speaking of people that are so fucking good, Hazuki. This woman's a fucking gem.
She is.
Jesus Christ, dude. Like, again, it's so weird with me. I'll admit, guys, that I have a weird personality when it comes to, who I like and who I don't, or what the rationale is. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. As, Hana Kimura, may she rest in peace, always used to say, everyone is different, everyone is special. For me, during Hazuki's first run, I liked her, but I never really got it, because I think people were raving about her even then. Ever since she's come back, boy, do I fucking get it now. And I'm studying the book forwards and backwards. She's incredible. I want her to be world champion. I'm just going to come out and say it. I want her to be a future world champion. I think she is a fucking workhorse. I think she is putting everybody in the 5-star to shame, because I think her matches just have a different energy to them. That match with Julia, I don't know all this time later if I would still say it's the best match of the tournament, but I would honestly be in a spirited debate with somebody that it's top 3. That match was fucking insane, and Hazuki more than did her part to make that happen. I want her to achieve her white belt dream that I know she had even in her first run with the company. I don't know when that's all going to come together for her, but the sooner the better in my mind. And yeah, she's utterly fantastic. I think her moveset's entertaining. She's so crisp in the fucking ring. I love her personality. her being a babyface oddly fucking works because she's just so endearing. And like, yeah, I think she's the kind of babyface that I fucking love. You get your business done in the ring, but you're vulnerable, you're believable. Again, I go back to that word, endearing. You're likable. She's got a magnetism about her. She really does. I felt like she had great matches with Utami. When Utami was champ. One of the few times where I really wouldn't have been mad if Utami, lost the title there. Again, I'm disappointed she lost to Kamitani in the 5-star. I wish that her big streak, she would have had the match with Kamitani earlier so that Kamitani could have been a part of that, so she would have had a claim to a white belt shot. I just think Hazuki's fucking awesome. She's really good. I am more than sold on her, and I really do want her to be Wonder Champ especially, but I would not complain one bit if they ever put the red belt on her. I think, again, fucking workhorse of that company right now, and it shows. So who is next on your list, friend?
Number 3 on my list is Utami Hayashishita.
Very cool. Very cool.
I honestly don't even know if I can say anything about her that we don't say every single time her entrance happens. Like, she's wonderful. She's so good at everything she does. She's adorable. She's lovable. She's a sweetheart. She's wholesome. And then she gets in the ring and beats ass. And she's really fucking good at it. And she's like one of the top most powerful women in all of Stardom, and you can take that anyway and still be correct because she is legitimately one of the strongest women in Stardom, and she's got one of the highest power levels in Stardom, so it applies on both of those levels when I say most powerful. It's just she's just awesome. I feel like anything that you want to hear about how great Utami Hayashishita is, listen to any of our Stardom Live reactions and you'll hear it.
Beautifully said. 3 for me, Starlight Kid. I mean, God, I've done fucking symposiums on this woman when it comes to this series of Five Fave Five. I do think she's cooled off a bit since being in this artist run, but man, like this 5-star reminded me how much I love her. When she beat Kamitani finally, I fucking popped. I thought her recent match with Julia was fucking great. She's so compelling to watch in the ring. I love her personality. I love her character as part of Oedo Tai. It seems like she was acknowledged as the leader of Oedo Tai because she did the drawing for Oedo Tai for the IWGP Women's Championship tourney. And so it's great seeing her be the leader of this faction and feel like an effective leader because, again, she's holding championships and they just feel more credible and more dominant. She's took the lead. I really don't miss Natsuko Tora at all, personally. I hope she gets better soon, obviously, but I don't want to see her back in a leadership spot. I think that exceeds her talent level that I perceive, and I feel like Kid is more of a natural fit. I want this woman, again, much like Hazuki, to be a Wonder Champ, and I especially want Kid to be the World Champ. But more than titles, I want to see her continue her arc. I want to see her one day reconcile with Mayu. I want to see her one day, if I'm being honest, come back and still be a leader, but be a leader of stars as opposed to being a leader of Oedo Tai. I think that'd be a fascinating story if Kid led 2 arch rival factions. That'd be fucking wild to me. She still has her match with Mayu coming up in the 5-star, and I am not emotionally ready for that because the one they had last year I thought was great, but can Kid win this year? And what will happen when she wins? Because I have to imagine a post-match promo will come. I want to see her unmask at one point and really complete her evolution to just being a really fucking good Joshi wrestler that doesn't need the mask. Now, maybe she'll never unmask. I don't know. She once talked about it with Jushin Liger, and it seemed like there was a part of her that did want to unmask, but she also respects what it means to wear a mask. So I don't know where she sits with that. But I still see the world in Starlight Kid, despite her only coming in at 3 for me, when there was a period where she was just topping the Stardom list nonstop. But yeah, she's fantastic. So who is next on your list?
Number 2, and this might blow your mind actually. Number 2 on my list is Saya Kamitani.
Very cool. Very cool.
She and I have a very special relationship in the sense that I have been kind of on her as a fan since day one. Literally, as soon as she made her first entrance, I was like, she's going to be something special. I've followed her. I mean, we both technically have followed her, but I was a fan from day one. And she's gotten so good and so compelling in the ring. She's so talented. She's so athletic. She's so charismatic. She's very sweet and very wholesome. I just, yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to, and the thing that makes her special, I think, is that she has all those things in a package that has the look of a main eventer. Like, she is one of the tallest women in Stardom. She doesn't move like she's like this tall, lanky clunker kind of thing. She moves like a fucking cruiserweight almost, kind of like, she's very athletic. She moves really well. She's quick. She's stronger than she looks, because like she doesn't look that strong. I mean, she looks like pretty average, like build wise. But like we've seen her deadlift women into that Sombra driver that she does. Looks great. I just think she's fucking great. She's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I also love the whole gimmick of her like being like the info leaker, and her having this weird relationship with Rossi where like she's always barging in on his meetings and stuff. I think that's adorable too.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Number two, Kyrie.
Oh,
Um,
wow. I thought she would either be number one or not on your list at all. So I'm very curious to see who your new number one is.
but yeah, with Kyrie, I enjoyed the tag matches she did with Poi and Nanae Takahashi. I'm heartbroken that she, and really, I want to emphasize on that latter tag match, it was really just all Kyrie I was interested in seeing. I was really looking forward to that Kamitani matchup. I was heartbroken that Kyrie got COVID. One, because COVID is terrifying, and two, we didn't get the match, obviously. So hopefully we get that match soon. I really, now I think that the match should just happen when Kamitani is able to set a new white belt record, personally. Let Kyrie be the final boss to Kamitani's immortality as it relates to that championship. Really make us wait for it now if it's already been canceled here. But I think it'll be a banger when it fucking does happen. I love Kyrie. She's a fucking sweetheart. Been doing amazing work since working, this limited schedule with Stardom. She feels special every time she comes out because of that fact. And yeah, I feel so privileged getting to call her matches again and getting to experience her. So Kyrie, you are always wonderful. But I'm really excited to talk about my number one. But before I can do that, I want to hand it back over to your list.
I feel like I've made this pretty obvious over the course of the last month or two. This is the only thing that I've just kind of outright spoiled on a commentary. So if you've been following us closely, you know who my number one is here. I've literally even said this as recently as like a few days ago in a wrestling chat that I'm in with Abel and Craig on Facebook. It's Hazuki. It's that simple. She is my absolute favorite. She's wonderful. I fucking love the sense of urgency that she's been having in the 5-star. Her psychology has reached another level in this current run. And, like, just to kind of tell the story of how we got here, I want to go back to my first ever Stardom list, which was on September 1st of 2019. John, you and I technically started covering Stardom in August, but the first Stardom show that we did was, I want to say, July 15th, because we did like a little bit of a catch up on our first Stardom reaction. We caught up on a few shows. And on my first ever Stardom 5 I had Arisa at 1. She's retired and hopefully able to still live a normal life. I don't know. Hana Kimura number 2, rest in peace. Hazuki number 3.
Yeah.
She's literally the highest ranking person from my first list who's still in the company. Or I shouldn't even say still, who's with the company. Because she's not still, she's back. She wasn't here the whole time. She was here for a while, and then she left, and now she's back. And just to fill the rest of that list out, Mayu was number 4, and Natsu was number 5. So Natsu, again, also someone else that's not here anymore. So yeah, Hazuki has literally since day one been a favorite of mine, but the run that she's on right now and the incredible matches that she's been putting on between the 5-star and the pay-per-views and the tag matches and the performances in the tag matches where she's kicking out of everything and just beasting her way through people, and then they lose the tag titles because Koguma couldn't do what she's been asking Hazuki to do time after time after time. That's a compelling story to me. Hazuki is legitimately just I really don't know how to put it. I don't know how to praise her enough. She has really really earned pretty much all of my emotional fandom at this point. She is one of my favorite things going in all of wrestling right now. I won't say where she ranks until we get to our master lists, but she's incredible. She is obviously my favorite performer in Stardom, given that she ranked number one here, but there's a lot more to it than just that. So let's get to your number one.
Utami Hayashishita.
Ooh, I kind of thought it might have been her when you had Kairi at 2, but yeah, that's wonderful. That's awesome, dude. Tell us about it.
So something amazing happened.
Ooh.
And only in Stardom do really magical things for me and how I feel about wrestling still happen.
Yes.
Because I've been very candid about where I am with pro wrestling these days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling burnt out. I'm feeling increasingly jaded. Stardom is that one oasis of magic left for me personally. But I want to tell a little story because this was really interesting to me, and it set off a whole new thought process. So when Utami beat Shruti in the 5-star, I was fucking ecstatic for her. I popped. I don't know if we fully got my pop because it might have been a Discord recording, and I know Discord doesn't pick up my little squeeze and my little other sounds that Facebook can, for better or worse.
Yeah.
But when she beat Shruti, and she cut that promo about how she was doubting herself and this and that, and then this is the resurrection of Utami Hayashishita, I got very emotional, and I think it's because, now I'm going to get a little inside baseball here, I'm going to get a little outside the scope of pro wrestling. Ashton and I, in that very same commentary, talked about Japanese work culture, and we talked about how work culture in Japan is probably even worse than the U.S., which is nightmarish to think about, because U.S. work culture literally kills people.
I will say the biggest difference, as far as I'm understanding, though, is that at least in Japan, your health care isn't tied to your employment, so that's one nice thing.
And that's fair. That's fair. I'm glad you did bring that up. All the same, though, I think there's a very, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, there seems to be a very conservative / traditional value in Japan that, like, your value as a person is derived from your work.
Yes.
And I also say this in light of things coming out that Micah's been getting bullied online. Now, I would have to go back and watch the promo, but I thought I even saw Utami shaking a little bit after that win against Shruti. I think it meant a lot to her. And why I got emotional was I don't want to project a lot onto Utami, and I want to be clear. Utami hasn't said anything about this. This is just me thinking about everything holistically. I do worry with these women because you never know what somebody's going through. If Utami, after she lost the title, if she felt like she fell out of favor with the company, you know, am I working hard enough? Am I still valued? Am I this and that? And you said something earlier, oddly enough. I mean, you couldn't get any more disparate acts, but you said about Keith Lee that he's a teddy bear and you just want to hug him.
Yeah.
And in that moment after Utami's win, I just wanted to give her the biggest hug and tell her, you don't even know how amazing you are, do you?
Yeah.
And like that's the thing. Like, I love Kairi, but I've developed a connection with Utami where it's funny, where she's a part of a faction, Queen's Quest, where it's like, we run this shit, we're the best fucking wrestlers, you all need to step your game up. And yet there's this quiet, and I do say quiet because there's nothing explicit about it. To me, there's this quiet vulnerability to Utami.
Yep.
And I really like it. And it's really resonant with me, like really resonant with me. And as she's cutting that promo, I'm realizing, like, Kairi will always be dear to me, but I need to understand that Kairi's career has entered another stage, and I need to focus on somebody that's, like, here full time, doing every show, and that I love. And I can genuinely say with my whole chest, like, I love Utami Hayashishita.
Yeah.
And when I saw Micah getting bullied, and I think about the work culture, and I think about Utami's promo, these women are working so fucking hard. I hope they know how much they're appreciated.
Yeah.
I really do, because it scares me, man. It scares me how people think they can talk to anybody. I mean, not just women, anybody on the internet, especially after we've mentioned Hana Kimura, like you and I both in different ways, we've mentioned Hana. You know, we know what happened with her, and we know why it happened with her.
Yeah.
And I do wonder with Utami, does she feel like people hate her? Does she feel like you're letting people down? And all I wanted to tell her, you know, even if I had to learn Japanese to do it, was, you haven't let me down. You haven't let anybody fucking down. Because to me, when I say you're still my world champion, it's not me just childishly saying, I don't acknowledge that Shuri has the title. It's, to me, you are everything that I love when pro wrestling is at its best, and you are everything that I gravitated towards since childhood about world champions. And I want to see her get to that mountaintop again, but not because it'll validate her value as a person for some toxic work culture I reject, but because she's genuinely amazing at what she does. She's an incredible fucking person, and nobody deserves it more. When I saw her cut that promo, and again, I do remember, maybe I'm misremembering, I'd have to go back and watch it. I feel like I saw her shaking, talking about what it meant to beat Shuri. I am like, oh my God, whatever load you have been carrying, it is way too fucking heavy, and we fucking appreciate it. This woman's a goddamn queen. I love her. I will defend her every fucking time, even if she's in a slump, because I'm telling you, Utami in a slump would still be better than most wrestlers, male or female, that I see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible, and I hope she's not being hard on herself, and I hope she's okay, and I hope she's not thinking like, I need to work harder, I need to push myself. There's a reason Shuri's world champion, and I'm not, because Queen, you're always going to be world champion to me, and you don't have to kill yourself to fucking prove it. Because it is starting to scare me, man, with the way these women are being talked to and just really thinking about the work culture across the world. U.S., Japan, everywhere. Capitalism fucking sucks. We need to put a human face to what harm happens in this whole culture.
Yeah.
And I would never want that to happen to her, because she does strike me as the type that's like, I want to be the best. I want to carry the company on my shoulder, because they invested in her so early. So I could see her internalizing that as, I have a responsibility to them because they made me. And when you put that logic combined with a toxic work culture, I just always want to get up here and say that Utami is still a human being, but a damn good one. And I really hope that she's not doubting herself, that she's not going through anything, and that she knows how incredible she is, because I love all of her matches. I'm still pissed that Micah beat her, to be honest, because I'm like, God, she should have won that match. And I care for Micah too, but I just, I'm that much of an Utami fan that I hate to see her lose. It doesn't matter to who. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, because after that promo, I knew Utami was going to be number one, and I wanted to figure out what I wanted to say, because I've been pretty succinct about most of these picks. But I just really wanted to go out of my way and say, Utami, you're fucking awesome. Yeah. So that rounds out that list. And now we get to our list. Thank you. And yeah, well, she deserves it. She deserves beautiful things.
She's
and
beautiful.
Now, she is, man. And dude, oh God, when she gives roses, I'm like, anybody, if you ever sell that rose, goddamn.
I want to go to a Stardom show with like, I don't know. We need to like go to a Stardom show, but we need to like pay a little girl to sit next to us so that she can get a rose from Utami and give it to us.
Yes. Goddamn, yes. I will preserve that rose to the end of time. We will raise it together with more fucking focus than lemon square muffin pie. It's amazing. The rose was what we were meant to raise the whole fucking time.
My God.
I'm convinced. Keep it fucking alive. But anyway, our other list. I'm actually low-key excited for this one. I'm low-key excited for this one.
You said you only had 3 honorable mentions, though, right?
I do, so I'll be really quick about this, actually. Number 3 for me, Sugiura. 2.
Wait, hang on a second. It's Takashi Sugiura.
Yes. When you have that recorded, let me know when I can resume. I don't want to go too fast.
You're good. Go ahead.
Okay. 2, Hideki Suzuki.
Wow. I'm surprised he made your list.
And number 1, Go Shiozaki.
Okay. And that's your honorable mentions.
Yes. Who are on your honorable mentions?
Number 5, Hikari Noa from TJPW. Number 4,
nice.
Go Shiozaki.
Nice.
Number 3, Saki Akai.
Cool.
Number 2, Saori Ano.
Cool.
And number 1 on my honorable mentions now, get that, it is Miyu Yamashita.
Interesting. Okay. I'm very curious what your top 5 is going to be. I think you'll like mine. We'll see. 5 for me is Saori Ano.
Nice.
I really liked what I saw from our Ice Ribbon coverage, thanks to DBK.
Yes.
Her presence is amazing.
It is.
I'm like,
her ring psychology is really fucking good too.
Oh my God, her psychology is great. Her presence is great. She's entertaining in the ring. Like, honestly, if she would go to Stardom, whose roster I am fucking enthralled with, if she would go to Stardom, I would say, you know what? maybe world champion vibes. Like, I'm not taking that off the table, but definite dominant Wonder champion vibes to me.
Yeah.
But for sure, for fucking sure.
Yeah, like Wonder title and like year-long reign kind of shit with her.
Yes, 100%, 100%. I want to see more of her because I really took to her very quickly. I'm starting to get what all the hype was about because I know there's been some hubbub around her name for a while. And yeah, I definitely
from me and my face.
Mostly from you and your face, but you know, I do follow certain pockets of Joshi stuff on Twitter. So, those people too, I think gave her some love.
Yeah.
And yeah, I get it. I get it. She's fantastic. So who's number 5 on your other list?
Number 5 on my other list is the young ace himself, Kaito Kiyomiya.
Very cool. Hey, you picked him to win the N1, man.
Yeah, and he paid off. He paid that off. Yeah, he's really, really good. Really fun to watch. I definitely get the ace vibes. I understand it now. I didn't understand it when he was in that tag match against Okada and Tanahashi on Wrestle Kingdom Day 3, and he cried on his way out. I was like, what the fuck? This kid is like nobody. But no, man, I get it now. Actually seeing him in Noah, seeing him be able to do what he does, he's awesome. He's really cool. He's really explosive. He does give Okada vibes. And I think I even mentioned the other day, he kind of combines some of the best traits that Okada has with some of the best traits that Tanahashi has. He has that sense of urgency that Okada sometimes lacks.
Yeah. I definitely, if Noah is going to back him against Keno in the world title match and then they're going to get the title back on him, I think it could be profitable for them.
Oh.
I liked him. Yeah.
Galatea's in chat. Good to see you, Galatea. Javaris has been in chat. Javaris, it's always fun to have you around. And yeah, Galatea isn't usually here, but she is now.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Kiyomiya, great start to your list. Number 4 for me, again, TJPW, this time a female wrestler, Yuka Sakazaki.
Nice.
Her being on her bully shit is scary, man, but it's entertaining as hell.
It's awesome, right?
Yeah. No, there's a reason why this woman, I think, is one of the more prominent Joshi wrestlers working today because she has one of the more unique looks in Joshi. And goddamn, can she work a fucking match? I mean, Jesus Christ.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I love Miyu Yamashita, and I like Shoko Nakajima, and there are a lot of other women in TJPW that I really do enjoy. To me, Yuka is just far and away the best in-ring worker in that crew.
Yeah, she is so well-rounded. No wonder she was, Princess champion and, had a dominant reign there. And they've really put a lot of stock in her. She's one of those performers that, and we say it, when you put stock in somebody and they carry the load, well, that's vindication on both sides. And I think she's always vindicated TJPW's trust in her. She's really, really fucking good. So, who's next on your list?
Number 4 on my list is also a TJPW woman, and it's the woman that your number 4 beat in the finals of the Tokyo Princess Cup, Miyu Watanabe.
Very cool. Very cool.
She is probably the fastest rising star in TJPW. She is very strong, despite the fact that she has the look of a cute little idol girl. She's literally an idol. Like, she's literally part of Up Girls. That's an idol group. It's her, Hikari Noa, who was in my honorable mentions, and Raku, whose entire gimmick is being sleepy. But yeah, they're all at least decent wrestlers. I think that Miyu is an excellent wrestler. I think she's very good at what she does. She's great at selling. She's great at garnering sympathy despite being a powerhouse, which is a rare combination of traits. It's something that she has in common with Utami, and I think even with like a Jungle Kiona kind of thing, kind of similar there. Really, really good at what she does, and very young still. I think she's only like 22 years old. Let me look it up and make sure. 22 years old. She turns 23 in October. But yeah, she's not been around for very long. She's been wrestling for like 4 or 5 years now. And I really do hope that either TJPW lets her walk and she goes to Stardom and we get a new star out of her, or TJPW actually just invests in her and actually gives her more than what they've given her before. And like the Tokyo Princess Cup was a small sign, but she still ended up losing in the end. So, it could have been a flash in the pan, or it could have been a sign of things to come. We'll see. We'll have to just wait and see.
Absolutely. Number 3 for me, Naki from Noah.
Oh, nice.
What a grumpy son of a bitch, but so
Love it.
effective.
Masakatsu Funaki.
Uh, him taking Sugiura the fuck out.
I know, that was great.
Like,
That was really cool.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this dude's legit. I think he was one of the high spots of the N1 for me, which on the whole was very underwhelming. And he's 53 fucking years old. The closest thing Noah has to Suzuki, since Suzuki's not really working Noah dates these days. I know he was a former, I think, GHC heavyweight champion. But yeah, Funaki, he's legit. I love the grappling game. I love that just as soon as he gets business done, he just leaves. He doesn't posture. He doesn't do any of that. He lets his moves do the talking. You know, what's not to like? So that's all I got to say about Funaki. Who is next on your list?
What is this? 3? 2. No, 3. It is 3. Number 3 on my list. We're kind of mirroring each other a little bit here because I also have a Noah guy at number 3 on my list. It's Katsuhiko Nakajima, though.
Cool.
I had a thought coming into this, like, oh, I'm not going to put Nakajima on my list because I don't want to reward him for injuring a guy. But you know what? If I'm being completely honest, he is still the most entertaining performer in all of Noah to me. So even if they want to like blackball him because of the bad numbers that they were getting when he was champion, or because he caused the legit injury, and that's a little bit more justifiable. If they want to do that, that's their decision. But in my opinion, he is the most compelling performer that they have. He's the most entertaining performer that they have. He's the most fun performer to watch. He's the person that I look the most forward to seeing on Noah shows. I just love Nakajima, man. He's so good. He's so fun. He's so talented. It really sucks that he basically punted Kinya Okada in the face and knocked him the fuck out and broke his jaw. But hopefully that was just a miscommunication. I mean, you could see he immediately went to go check on the kid. I think it was a miscommunication, but at the end of the day, it sucks either way. And I don't know. Nakajima's just one of those guys that just does it for me. He's just one of those guys that when he's on my screen, I'm entertained, and that's sometimes is all it takes. And I don't have enough proof of him being like a piece of shit for me to just exclude him from my list like I thought about.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. I will say number 2 for me was Nakajima.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, pretty much copy paste everything you said. Look, I'm not looking to reward people either, but I'm also not going to be a liar to myself. I fucking love the dude. I love watching him literally, kick people to just brutalizing their chest. I was going to say kick the shit, but obviously I haven't seen anybody defecate in the ring yet. But his kicks are the best that I've seen. And I love watching him work. And yeah, what happened to Okada was a shame because we shouldn't be looking for anybody to get injured. But like you, I don't think there was any malicious intent. He did check on him immediately afterwards. And, stuff happens, man. Stuff happens. And, yeah, like, I just think he's really cool. I love the entrance theme. I love, again, the presentation. And the in-ring work is just fucking top fucking notch to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Who's next on your list?
Next on my list, number 2 is the magical girl, Yuka Sakazaki. You mentioned her earlier. She was your number 4. She's my number 2. I already said it. She is the best in-ring worker in TJPW. And the thing that I didn't mention is that right now she's also the best character worker in TJPW. I fucking love her bully mode. I absolutely love what she's been doing lately. I love her work. I love her attitude. I love her fucking no-selling when the other girls start doing their bullshit against her. It's like, no, you know what? If you're not going to take this seriously, neither am I. Fuck you. And I love that. I absolutely love it. I think she's cool as hell. And she was probably the only woman in the Tokyo Princess Cup that I'm not even mad about beating Miyu Watanabe in the finals.
Yeah.
Because of how much of a fucking role she's been on. Like, Miyu's great, but her push just happened to coincide with Yuka being her best that she's ever been.
Yeah.
So, I love Miyu, but gotta give my props to Yuka.
All right, well, this is it. This is the moment. It is September 5th, 7 p.m. Get ready, TJPW, and enjoy this because one of your workers made my number 1 at long fucking last. Number 1 for me, Miyu Watanabe.
Yep, I knew it. I called that shit.
This woman's something special. And here's why she's number one. Fuck the grading period. And I say that because, like, it does count. The Princess Cup happened in this grading period. What this woman managed to do, she managed to do what not even the likes of a Yuka or a Miyu Yamashita could really do. She made me give a shit about TJPW's future.
Yep.
Like, TJPW right now in that moment, and then, like, oh, is this a long-form story they're telling? That's got me invested.
Yeah.
When we were covering the semis and the finals of Princess Cup, I popped hard when she beat Yamashita, and I was rooting for her hard to beat Yuka. I immediately, I've seen plenty of GIFs of Miyu, always liked them, always liked her look. Like, her look is quintessential pro wrestling because you've got this diminutive, cute-looking little thing that, like, comes out and almost hugs the camera and a smile. But then when the bell rings, she's a fucking powerhouse and she will impose her will on you.
Yep.
It's pro wrestling at its fucking best to me.
Yep.
I have been very vocal. I do not hate TJPW. To me, they've always been kind of mid, especially relative to Stardom. Stardom is my crack, right? If I can't get Stardom, maybe TJPW is good. And I'm even starting to soften up on some other people, because who's that one woman called? Hold on, I want to do a quick search real quick because I know you were Googling stuff earlier. God damn it. I know I even watched a video of her recently. Pam Harajuku. That one girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that one girl who I posted. Say that again?
The one that kicks shins.
Yeah, the one that kicks shins. The one that I posted that tweet of with the gif of her being scared of that one wrestler. She was trying to get in the ring and fire herself up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max the Impaler. Yeah, she's fucking funny. So TJPW is turning a corner with me, and if it does successfully turn that corner, you can thank Miyu Watanabe for starting the process.
Nice.
Because I look at this woman, and I'm like, she should be world champion. I look at this woman, and I'm like, Rossi, do you got one more poach left in you? Because I'm like...
Dude, right? I feel like that about her and Hikari Noah. I feel like both of them should jump ship for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Because she is really, really good. And, I read a great write-up on the Tokyo Joshi Princess Cup and, like, the story that was telling and Miyu's performance. There's something her and Sammy have in common. If I really like you, I'm even reading write-ups on you just to see how other people are perceiving you.
Yep.
But, yeah, Miyu made me feel the most enthusiastic I've ever felt about TJPW since we started covering it intermittently. Like, and that's amazing. That, like, if that again doesn't warrant a number one spot, I don't know what does. I can't wait for this woman to win the world title. I hope she spreads her wings one day and she tries other promotions, mainly again Stardom. And God, I'd be so much more enthusiastic about women working with AEW if AEW would just work its shit out with women's wrestling.
Yeah.
Because I don't think WWE is a guarantee, and I'm not going to say WWE, but I also think Impact is way too small a pond for her. I want people to see her. I want people to really see and understand how great this fucking woman is. So, yeah, I just hope Miyu continues to grow as a performer. I thought her Princess Cup outing was fucking fantastic. I was more emotionally invested in her tournament than I was in anybody in the N1 and most people in the G1. Now, the 5-star, of course, is a different animal. That's in a whole different sphere. But if it was Princess Cup, N1, G1, Miyu Watanabe, I felt very emotionally connected about her winning, especially because she was actually viable to win, having made it all the way to the finals. She's terrific. I love her. So, yeah, that's it for me. And, yeah, I guess who is, because you didn't give your number one yet, right? So who's number one on your list?
That is correct. My number one, and I'm just going to say the name, and then I'm going to tell a little story. So my number one is Maki Ito, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm curious to hear this story.
So the story is a little, it's more about me than it is about how I got to here. I don't know if you knew this, John, but Maki Ito was number one on my other Fave 5 for the entirety of 2020 and the first half of 2021.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I actually looked back in our little document, and she became number one on my Fave 5 starting with our 4/11/2020 list. She was number one on my other Fave 5. And that grading period that led up to that started on literally 1/1 of 2020. So literally the entire first quarter, basically, or the first third even of 2020, I had Maki Ito as my number one. And then I had her at number 1 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. I had her at number 1 for five Fave Fives in a row. So five Fave Fives, of course. And then as of August of 2021, she dropped to number 2 because CM Punk came back and he was my new number 1, right?
Right.
But since then, because we've added the AEW section, and we kind of started doing that. I think it was the last time. Was it the last one or the one before that? It was the one before that. Yeah, our first Five Fave Five with the AEW section was 4/8/2022. And on that one, I had Maki Ito as my top honorable mention. Then our last Fave 5, I had Maki Ito as number 4 on my other list. So she's been working her way back up, basically, ever since we gave AEW its own section. Because when we got back into AEW, we started just cranking out other lists with AEW people in them because we didn't give it its own section yet. But now that it has its own section, Maki Ito's been working her way back up. And for this grading period, she is my number 1 on my other section. And to explain why, she has been doing really well in TJPW, but I'm realizing how much more I want to see her now on AEW because she keeps getting fucking elevation matches. And here's the secret sauce. I go out of my way to watch her elevation matches.
Yeah. Dude, that's fucking awesome, man. I love that.
Well, that's the thing. You know me, and you know that I don't think about wrestling when we're not watching wrestling together.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
But I've been going out of my way to seek out Maki Ito's matches on Elevation because I want to see her, I want to see how the crowd reacts to her, all that stuff. And for anyone to get me to go out of my way to seek anything of theirs out when John and I aren't here live reacting to it, that's how you know that there's something special.
Definitely.
So Maki Ito is literally the only person in the wrestling world right now who John and I aren't live reacting to regularly that I will seek out their stuff. So that right there, I think, tells you all you really need to know. If you really want to hear why I fucking love Maki Ito, there are previous editions of Five Fave Fives that I can recommend for you, namely the 411 edition, and then more importantly, I think, actually, the 901, the 9/1 2020 edition. So September 1st, 2020. Go back to that Fave 5 and you'll hear exactly why I fucking love Maki Ito. In my opinion, her entire character is basically the millennial generation in a nutshell. We get handed shit and we fail our way through life, but fuck you, we're not giving up.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. Fucking love that. All right. Now I guess it's time for overall top 10. Do you want to begin this or should I?
I'll start since I ended. We're kind of alternating here. That means that you went first on your honorable mentions for the other list, and I went second. So, Master List, number 10, Yuka Sakazaki.
All right. Master List, number 10, Miyu Watanabe.
Perfect. Number 9, Azumi.
Number 9, Jay White.
Nice. Number 8, Andrade El Idolo.
Number 8, ZSJ.
Nice. Number 7, Utami Hayashishita.
Number 7, Christian Jungle Boy's Daddy Cage.
Number 6, Sanada.
Very nice. Number 6, Kevin Owens.
Nice. Number 5, Maki Ito.
Number 5, John Moxley.
Nice. Number 4, Damage Control.
Number 4, Sami Zayn.
Wow. Thought you'd be in your top 3. Number 3, Saya Kamitani.
Number 3, Starlight Kid.
Number 2, Bryan Danielson.
Number 2, Kairi.
And number 1, Hazuki.
Number 1, Utami.
Yep. Bro.
Love it.
I love that. I love that so much. I love that we both had our number 1 Stardom girls as our number 1 overall. I really do. Like, I was trying really hard to hide this sentiment earlier when we were just talking about Stardom, and I had Hazuki at number 1 for my Stardom list. Hazuki really is my favorite thing in all of wrestling right now. She is just straight up the person that I am the biggest fan of in all of wrestling.
Fuck yeah, man. I love that for you. I really do. Because the only other time I've heard you speak about somebody like in those terms would be in EO. And that's why I'm happy that EO's on the main roster in this faction, too. Like, I just love that the people you love are really getting to do cool shit right now.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
weird. It's like there are just a few, like, handful of people in the world of wrestling that have the potential to be, like, my absolute favorite thing going in the world right now. And I didn't even know that Hazuki had that in her, but here we are. She absolutely did. By the way, something else that I wanted to point out that I never got to while we were talking about it. My Fave Five is comprised entirely of either current or former members of Queen's Quest.
Yeah, fucking Queen's Quest, man. The faction in professional wrestling.
Yep, it's
You'll love to see it.
Momo, who was in the original trio. Azumi, who was the first member to ask to join. Utami, who's in it right now. Kamitani, who's in it right now. And Hazuki, who was the original recruit by EO.
Yeah, beautiful. Fucking love it. Fucking love it.
Yeah,
right.
And then, of course, EO herself is also in my top 10 because she's part of Damage Control, which got number 4. So she's 1/3 of my number 4. And yeah, I just think that's so cool.
Definitely. I fucking love it, dude.
Queen's Quest, or people that have been in Queen's Quest, take up, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and a third of my top 7 on my master list.
There you go.
It's almost
this
half.
Was great.
It's almost half.
Yeah. This was great. I fucking love Five Fave Five. Loved our list this grading period. And yeah, guys, with that said, thank you so much for joining us. Leave a like as you file out, subscribe, click the bell icon for notifications. Check out everything we're involved in the description box. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch because we are the best wrestling podcast in all the IWC. And yeah, we'll see you guys later tonight for games because it is Monday. My days still aren't completely fucking sorted. And then hopefully tomorrow at 5 we'll be here for Stardom. Because I know that they're starting to get the September 3rd show up. So hopefully they'll have it fully up by Tuesday.
Yes, there are 8 matches on that show, and they have 5 up so far. So hopefully we'll be able to go live tomorrow at 5.
Yeah, I am feeling pretty confident right now, but we'll see. Stardom can sometimes be weird. So until then, yeah, Discord members, we'll see you at 8 for games. And yeah, Ashton, you can take us home.
All right, our next, I don't know if you mentioned this. I don't think you did because you probably didn't know. Our next Five Fave Five will be on November 28th of this year. So it's going to be 2 days after Survivor Series, and it's going to be 9 days after Full Gear. So those 2 pay-per-views happen within a week of each other. Full Gear is on 11/19, and then Survivor Series on 11/26. So I'm looking forward to being able to do our next Fave 5. It's going to have all of the rest of Stardom's 5-Star Grand Prix, and I believe all of the Tag League as well included in there. I don't think we're going to have any more New Japan content, so we might want to figure something out with that. But we will be doing, some WWE stuff, I'm sure, along the way, and at least Survivor Series for sure. I'm sure we'll cover plenty of AEW along the way. And, of course, I already mentioned 5-Star in the Tag League. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you're all looking forward to it. I know I am. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, follow us on Twitter and Twitch, and of course, if you'd like to support us, you can also subscribe on Twitch, buy our merch on Spring, donate to our Patreon, and share this channel with all your wrestling fan friends. We will be back hopefully tomorrow at 5 for our live reactions to Stardom's September 3rd show. And then, of course, we've got Dynamite on Wednesday, and I'm not going to promise anything after that because I don't even know if we're going to be doing Rampage anymore. They've kind of soured it on us. We'll have to look at the card and decide by that. So we'll see you tomorrow at 5, hopefully. And, of course, you've got to remember to stay tuned.